It is January the 22nd, 2018. Welcome to this week's weekly weather briefing. I was not available to make a video last Saturday. I was too busy to do so, and unfortunately, it just happened to come right in with our number 2 storm that came in last Monday, a week from today, and dropped well above anticipated snowfall totals across the region. Just about every forecaster, including me, busted that forecast. I was unavailable really to look at a lot of the models and stuff during that time, and so it was a little bit difficult for me to make a forecast, but I still called for a couple of inches, and it definitely did not verify. We ended up with over a foot of snow after both storms last Friday and on Monday were totalized across the region, and I don't know what the National Weather Service in Paducah ended up with officially, but I do know that here in North Graves County, we ended up with over a foot of snow, 12.6 inches of snow, and just a little under an inch of sleet and freezing rain combined. So pretty impressive 4 or 5 days there last weekend. And unfortunately for snow lovers, something like that is not going to happen for a couple of weeks at least, because we're looking at warmer temperatures overall with a couple of cool downs in there. But we'll go ahead and look at that. An upper level low pulls away tomorrow behind a cold front that is moving through as I speak. This is going to help for cooler temperatures not only on Tuesday but for Wednesday as well. As that upper level low pulls away on Tuesday afternoon, we will begin to see cooler temperatures and sunshine by Wednesday, but Tuesday is the gloomy weather day. We have to get through some breezy conditions, cold temperatures, and some cloudy conditions. A warm-up coming around the middle to late of this week, and we see a possible system next weekend, although it is unlikely, and we'll talk about why. And then warmer than average next week. February cold to come. We'll talk about what February has in store as of right now, but this is not the official February forecast. Tomorrow it's going to be gloomy, low clouds, windy, and cold. Temperatures are going to stay in the upper 30s to low 40s, mostly because of this low deck of clouds. This would be for the heat of the day tomorrow, 2 p.m. on Tuesday. Notice how locked in those clouds are, the white representing those clouds. Tomorrow, here's the high temperatures. According to the NAM 3KM model, we don't get out of the 30s, and that is probably likely. It depends on how cold we get tonight on Tuesday morning, and that will depend on how warm we get, because if temperatures don't get below 40 degrees on Tuesday morning, then they will likely stay above 40 for the rest of the day. But with low clouds across the region, really whatever we get tomorrow morning as our low is probably going to be just a few degrees shy of our highs. So it's going to be pretty steady tomorrow in the temperature department because of those clouds. To add with it, breezy conditions. Gust over 25 miles per hour. We see a tight pressure gradient, but winds will be decreasing tomorrow as the day wears on. So the heavier winds are going to be in the morning as associated with the afternoon. Cooler and sunshine is going to be in the forecast for Wednesday, and we're looking at that upper level low pulling away Tuesday night. Tuesday night is a toss-up right now in overnight low temperatures. If the clouds don't clear out, then we see temperatures stay above freezing for overnight lows, but if they do, temperatures could drop well into the 20s, so that is a toss-up as of right now. It just depends on what time that low deck of clouds clears out. They can really skew the temperatures if you're not careful. This is going to leave behind cooler temperatures and sunshine, but it is going to be temporarily because we see a warm-up coming around the middle to late week. Southerly flow kicks in on Thursday once again, so temperatures will begin to spike, and this is going to help fuel maybe the fire for a possible system next weekend. But it's unlikely, even though we might have southerly winds and warmer temperatures ahead of it and maybe some moisture, we're not going to have a lot of energy. There's going to be a lot of upper-level energy that will be lacking with this system next weekend, and a lot of the moisture will remain to our south while the energy will be off to our north. The two will not meet up to make a system in between, so we're not looking at anything, at least to my regard, of any significant for next weekend. We're going to be maybe looking at a couple of showers, I think, at the most, and models on the other side, at least on my side supporting this, are weakening the system, so that is kind of adding to my support that we don't see hardly anything of significance next weekend. This is for Saturday, the GFS model. Just a few runs ago, it had a pretty large system, or at least a few days ago it did, and now it's beginning to weaken that. The last couple of runs have showed just some mutual day-to-day showers, and that would be just about it. Temperatures well above freezing, so nothing to worry about as far as wintry precipitation. Any energy stays off to our north. Notice this is the 500 millibar level, well above our heads. We see a lot of that energy off to our north. A lot of the moisture, as you saw right here, is off to our south. The two won't meet up, I think, to cause anything of significance next weekend. Warm-up continues into next week because with no big system, you're not going to have a big cold front. So the warm weather will stick around in the next week, I think. Well above average temperatures. This is for next Wednesday. Don't take the specifics as far as how far above average, but just the idea that most of the country, or at least the lower 48, is going to be above average, excluding the extreme north central United States, where that would be our next cold spell coming in right behind this warm weather. But it's going to be tough to knock this warm eastern ridge out of the way. It's pretty stubborn at this time of the year. The epic, historic January thaw that seems to happen every single year. I forecasted it for the second half of January, and I forecasted that we would begin to see colder temperatures and a stormier pattern continuing into February. We saw the stormier pattern so far this January, and we've seen colder than average temperatures so far, much colder than I anticipated. I was thinking February or at least January would end up above average in the temperature department, and it does not look like that is going to happen. But the stormier pattern on my part did verify, and that really has been the only mess up in my winter forecast so far. Right now, it still looks like February is going to shape up the way I thought it would be around 2 months ago, colder and stormier than average, so there is higher chances for snow and ice going into the month of February. And typically, we begin to see more snow and ice just historically across our region in the month of February and early March, so that is no surprise for us. A North Pacific ridge returns as we go into the beginning of February. This is going to allow for some very cold Arctic air to spill back in across the eastern United States. So I guess if you would think about it relatively, this warm spell is not going to last very long compared to how long we've been seeing this cold weather. It seems like overall everything has been much colder than it has warm. The polar vortex is this area right here, and we're seeing it driving that cold air further south as we go into the first few days of February. Here's the 15-day temperatures. It doesn't really show that big cool down going into February. It does show a gradual cool down as we enter into the month, but it doesn't show a big drop in temperatures, and this is something that is going to be helpful to watch for, because if we see a big drop, that means that we have a storm system to monitor around that time frame. But a gradual descent in temperatures means maybe less stormier and just more cold weather to come in right behind it. We'll watch it very closely, but of course these models right here are not picking up on any kind of storminess around that transition period from the warm to the cold. We're going to be looking at a lot of up and down over the next 10 days at least going through the very end of this month. In January, we're going to see that warm up coming in around the middle to late week after our cool down for tomorrow and Wednesday. Temperatures cool right back down maybe for next week, but like I said, I think that the warmer than average temperatures continue into the beginning of next week, so we might not see as far as up and down temperatures as this map is showing, but rather just warmer than average overall. Here's the 7-day precipitation totals. I think this is way overdone in my opinion. Notice that we're looking at well above what I think is going to happen for this month, showing around 3/4 of an inch of precipitation for the next 7 days. I just don't think that's going to happen. I think that we're just going to be looking at maybe less than 1/4 inch, and this is really just showing the precipitation for the system coming in next weekend, which I think is not going to actually organized like some of the models show it is, or this model right here. So I think that the rainfall totals forecasted for next weekend will eventually begin to go down over the next couple of days, but right now this is way overdone in my opinion. Around 1/4 inch or less of rain I think over the next 7 days, and as always I'll watch it very closely. That's it going over the next 7 days. Hopefully you've had a great week. No winter weather to worry about over the next week. Maybe going into the beginning of February we begin to turn the road over into a more colder and stormier pattern and get out of this warm weather that we're in for right now. But if you like the warm weather, we'll see it for another couple of weeks. After that, it's gone, and we'll go back to that more winter-type pattern as we enter into the month of February.